With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Asphalt oval portion of the calendar, the second race of 4 live on Apex Racing TV. Happy that you're all able to join us to see these NASCAR next-gen cars go racing around the Talladega Superspeedway, presented by Jim Perry Race Engines, with race control provided by 24/7 Race Control. Joshua Lee here with you in the booth alongside Austin Knighton. Austin, the points are heating up because Trevor Anderson, the current second place driver in the points, will not compete tonight. This opens the door for Robert Schwenkler to maybe hop up into that second spot in the points, but also gives Adam Thompson, the winner 1 week ago at iRacing Superspeedway, an opportunity to start pulling away.
Yeah, with second place not at this race right now, it will be a opportunity to gain some points, maybe leapfrog some positions and pull away. And he's certainly going to be trying to do that right now in these next-gen cars here at Talladega. It's going to be a absolute beauty to see these next-gen cars around here. I don't know if you've tried out next-gen cars on super speedways, but they are so fun.
You can try them out in the Carb Cup for anybody looking to do that. It is completely a rookie license, so you can log into iRacing, buy the NASCAR next-gen cars, buy Talladega or Daytona, and go racing right now with these cars at a super speedway. So hopefully these drivers might have a little bit more of experience when it comes to Talladega Superspeedway versus iRacing Superspeedway in these next-gen cars. We saw a caution-free race 1 week ago where it was long trains on the bottom of the racetrack, but iRacing Superspeedway, much different than Talladega. We'll see how these two races will interact with each other, as Jerry DiPerero, with a great run to the top of the board, going to be overtaken by Adam Thompson, the winner from iRacing Superspeedway, up to the front. What can the 67 of Alex Anderson do? Through the tri-oval comes the 67, looking to improve on a P10, crosses the line. The slow motion motorsports machine is going to hop up to P5. Great run for Alex Anderson in the 67. Mike Sorum comes across the line. He'll blend into 13th as everybody starts to come across the line, completing their first and second flying laps here on the racetracks. We'll go on board with Chet Duranik in turns 3 and 4.
Yeah, these cars, it's not a fixed setup series, so everyone might have a little bit different setup, but Thompson and DiPerero, identical times, and then there's a little bit of gap to everyone else behind them. So that's Tyler Coates coming off of their lap as they go into 7th. Jimmy Hawat is off on the back straight right now, heading into turns 3 and 4. And Talladega, like you're saying, it's going to be a little bit like iRacing Superspeedway, but there's going to be a little bit more strategy. There might be a little bit of a train, but, you know, there's going to be 2, maybe 3 wide racing at the start of this, and then at the end, if there's still a pack left, we can definitely see that happening. But since everyone's got their own setup, it's going to be a lot of fighting here.
And how it comes across the line, he is going to power down, and 20 seconds left on the clock. Looks like everybody off and away with their qualifying times tonight. 18 drivers will take the green flag here from virtual Talladega, and we're going to see what happens here in this race. Remember, looking at the points, Trevor Anderson, P2, not competing tonight. That is going to severely change how these points will sit. Time to take a look at the starting grid here from virtual Talladega, and it's Adam Thompson who will lead the field to green. Jerry DiPiero on the outside. Jaden Darling, Bobby Ross, and Alex Anderson rounding out the top 5. James Keir, Tyler Coates, James Truitt, Robert Schwenkler, and Josh Klog round out your top 10. Ashley Molyneux, Kevin Irwin, and back from there, it's Jimmy Howitt in P13, Mike Sorum P14, Chet Duranic rounds out your top 15. Scott Benavidez, Scott Rankin, and Tyler Campbell rounds out the 18 drivers ready to take the green flag from virtual Talladega. Winners this season sit all over the board. Trevor Anderson won the opening 3 rounds. Marino Reyes got the final one of the GT3 portion of the calendar. Then it was 3 unique winners in the dirt oval portion. Trey Garst with 2 wins. Then Adam Thompson with 1 win, and Ashley Molyneux with 1 win at Knoxville. Then iRacing Superspeedway to open the asphalt oval portion of the calendar up. Win for Adam Thompson, so he gets the early lead in the asphalt oval. And Austin, it's a good pick to choose as he's back on the pole. We didn't see him go away from the lead at all at iRacing Superspeedway. Might be a little bit more difficult to hold the lead for each and every lap in this race as opposed to that one.
It really is going to be a gamble, as you might say, but Adam Thompson is the odds-on favorite, though him and Gary did put in the identical time, so my money is on Thompson or DiPiero, but if I had to choose, I'm going with that 244 of Adam Thompson. He's got everything he needs to be. He started up a pole, just keep it on that bottom line, and, well, you're going to be all good.
And just talking about this racetrack, 2.66 miles in length. You can draw comparisons to Daytona all you want, but they really are 2 different racetracks. I mean, you talk about Talladega, much wider, much faster, much bigger, more banking. Just everything is grander when it comes to the Talladega Superspeedway, and it races a bit different as well. You're going to have a lot more room on that outside line. I think definitely we're going to see an outside line come into play tonight, Austin, but I still think that inside line might just be too good to beat. That outside line will need to be formed up, getting a huge runs down the straightaways if they're going to want to have any chance of beating that inside line.
Yeah, that outside line is really going to be important on restarts or the start as well, because, you know, you can build up that momentum, use gravity to your advantage, get up high onto that bacon, then on that back stretch, you could really stretch your legs and might slingshot your way ahead of Thompson if you are DiPiero, or the 33 of Bobby Ross can make it 3 wide and leap it up there, trying to leapfrog somebody else. And yes, Talladega is grander in every way compared to Daytona, unless we are talking about a road course, as there is one in the infield, but that one does not go onto the oval.
There was also, I believe, a Talladega road course in NASCAR Thunder 2003. Unfortunately, not scanned into iRacing, but I think we need to get Steve Myers on that. But anyways, we're ready to go racing on the very real but virtual oval here at the Talladega Superspeedway. Adam Thompson on the bottom of the racetrack. Jerry DiPiero on the outside. Jaden Darling, Bobby Ross with Alex Anderson. Your top 5. Time to go racing in the second race of the asphalt oval portion of the calendar. When Bill France built this speedway, he put the start-finish line down by turn number 1 to sell more tickets. This extra real estate in the tri-oval always provides an exciting run to the finish here at Talladega. Time to let these NASCAR next-gen cars loose as Adam Thompson hits the restart zone. Let's go racing! It's Dega time!
It's Dega time, and DePerio gets an amazing start off the line. He knew exactly when Thompson was going to go. It's a early lead heading into turn 1, and now they're all stacking up, getting all the way down to that bottom line, not leaving any spot for Thompson. DePerio he's up in that second line. He's got Truett right behind him. It's 3 cars on the bottom. DePerio is all by himself, and he's got nowhere to go. He's dropping down fast. Thompson, Ross, Truett, the top 3. Then it's DePerio falling down to 5th with Clog, jumping up into 4th as everyone's finding their spot in line. As we go 32 laps racing here at Dega.
Stuck on the outside line right now. Mike Sorm in the 69 trying to find a way in. Scott Benavidez a little bit off the pace. He's going to lose touch with this lead pack, but they continue to race. Everybody's single file, bottom of the racetrack. 2 distinct lines starting to form up as really this top group. It's Thompson, Bobby Ross, James Truett, Josh Clog, Jerry DiPiero, Jaden Darling, and Alex Anderson. Then leading that ladder pack is James Keir with Schwenkler, Irwin, Molyneux, Coates, Howitt, Campbell, Sorm, and Duranic at the tail end of that field.
Already. We
got
got
huge separation with these drivers up front, especially in those 2 packs. And you're on board with Clog right now, trying to keep up with the driver in front. These high spoilers on these next-gen cars can provide a little bit more downforce and a little bit more of a suck up to the car in front. So we see a huge moment from Josh Clog off 4.
And also the diffusers give him a lot more downforce as well on these next-gen cars. They kind of look like a hybrid between road cars and oval cars as well. They kind of look like TA2 Trans Am cars, just without the spoilers up in the air. They're all duck billed right there. But yeah, the draft off these cars is a little bit different. If you get a little bit of separation, you're going to fall away. So you really want to be planted on those bumpers and not make a mistake.
On board now with your current leader, Adam Thompson. And looks like DiPiero and Darling going to lose touch with this pack. Or I believe that's Darling and Anderson, actually.
Yes,
They're looking to lose touch with this lead pack. And that will put 5 cars in the front line. Darling and Anderson falling back to that second line. Very interesting to see just exactly why they're splitting up. Usually it's based on maybe a wreck avoidance. Maybe somebody got loose in the middle of the pack, and that caused drivers to check up and sort of form up into a different pack. They were kind of running like this since the drop of the green flag, or since halfway through lap number 1. They're really spreading out a ton as Scott Benavidez sits all the way tail end of the field off of the draft.
I believe off the line when they hit the green, somebody didn't go, and everybody kind of checked up because they had somebody slow off the line, and that immediately created that second pack this early on. And well, it's a 5-car race currently. With 6th and 7th, Darling and Anderson trying to catch up. They have actually caught back up to the pack. They're half a second away, but you know, the draft of these cars, you put multiple of them in line, they will punch a giant hole into the air. They're easy to catch back up, but that second group is really going to have to keep their head down if they want to eventually give up to these guys, because it is a bigger pack, but the drivers all up here, you know, they're fighting for that win. And DiPiero in 5th, we saw him get into the back of Clog, actually, into turn 3. Oh, we got a crash on the back straight on the tri-elbow. 2 cars, James Kerr and Ashley Milano. Big crash. Kerr in the inside wall. Milano, I think, was car on the outside coming out of turn 4. This is that second group. See, just trying to go to that second line, and
little bit too late there for Keir trying to make that move. Contact with himself and Molyneux brings out the first caution of the night. Here's the view from Chet Duranek. We'll hop up to Mike Sorum. Oh my, Kevin Irwin barely avoiding. Saw that car right in the middle of the racetrack, able to barely avoid. Here's the full onboard as he comes off of turn number 4. There's the incident happening in front of him. He sees it, sees the car in the middle of the racetrack and barely misses Molyneux.
Did he lift at all?
I'm not sure if he did or not.
What did now he keep flat out?
That definitely worked for Kevin Irwin to get by that incident, but first caution of not only the night, but as of the asphalt oval portion of this calendar, we went caution free at the iRacing Superspeedway. Not going to be the same fate here tonight at Talladega. As we take a look at what happened, I believe this was coming to the caution. We'll grab another look at a replay of something different here, and here is that incident once again.
Up the track, it hurt. Hermano was just on the outside. No, not Hermano. This is Ashley that we're talking about, not Chris. Looks like Ashley was trying to go around the outside. Kerr was kind of putting on a block right there.
So 2 cars collide, brings out the first caution of the night. Still Adam Thompson out in front, Bobby Ross, James Truitt, Josh Klog, Jerry DiPiero, your top 5. Another commanding race is shaping up here, Austin, for Adam Thompson. Same story than what we saw from the iRacing Superspeedway, because we saw Thompson be so dominant when it came to that race, and seeming like he's got these plate races figured out. He knows how to control the front of the field, because even though everybody's in a single file line, nobody even wants to go to the outside to try and challenge Adam Thompson. He's able to stay out in front, and saw the same thing at iRacing Superspeedway. We didn't see much challenge for him there either.
Yeah, he's very comfortable up there. This restart's going to provide a little bit of a shakeup, but you know, he was so commanding on that initial start that he shouldn't be that worried. What he should really, he just has to sit on that bottom line, and he will be golden from start to finish here. And it's going to take a lot of coordination from Bobby Ross, Truett, Klog, and DiPiero. You know, if they start talking with each other, and if they want to get Adam Thompson, they're all going to have to go onto that outside line and just push past him and just leave him out to dry right there. It's going to take a team to bring Adam down. He is, well, he's just on fire right here.
And working through the caution period here, we should be looking at a restart here. Development with the officiating, it sounds like, Austin. Mike Sorum disqualified from the race, and I believe what we are hearing is a mistake with the officiating. They didn't mean to disqualify him, but he is disqualified, and I'm not sure if he is going to be able to come back or not with the black flag clear.
You can clear disqualification with a black flag. I know that. I've had it happen to me multiple times, but Mike is probably confused at that, and I believe I'll put him a lap down now.
That might be true, and if Sorum does not get undisqualified, and I believe what we are hearing is an admin disqualification does not clear with a black flag clear. So I believe it is completely done day for Mike Sorum. And
no.
Just unfortunate to hear he wasn't having the best day, but that is exactly not the way that you want to go out. And apologies from all the officiating staff as well over the radio. Just a simple mistake like that takes him out of contention for this race. Definitely so upsetting for Mike Sorum.
Yeah, Mike definitely not going to be enjoying the race out there. He loves driving these cars, but, you know, hopefully next time by he has a good race and doesn't accidentally get disqualified. But he can enjoy the rest of this race here with y'all in chat here on Apex Racing TV and see how his competition is going on, as it's Adam Thompson and Bobby Ross on the front row here, ready to go back to green flag racing. And when we go back to green, it'll be 24 laps to go.
Already closing in on the latter half of this race from virtual Talladega. Pace car back into the safety of the pit lane, ready to go back to racing as Adam Thompson, Bobby Ross on the front row. Truett and Clog, row 2. DiPiero sits in P number 5. Once again, restart zone, tail end of the tri-oval, and the start-finish line on the short chute down on the way towards turn number 1. Green flag back out. Thompson's back on the loud pedal, and a great restart for Thompson. Terrible restart for Bobby Ross. He's going to get sucked in the middle line. One car going to go down to the grid, and now coming down to the bottom of the racetrack. Ross is going to be held on that outside line. Almost making contact was the 3 machine of Josh Campbell, and coming to the back straightaway. In the lead, it's Adam Thompson, Truett, DiPiero, and Anderson all hooked up.
Yeah, top 3, well, Truett and DiPiero got a great restart, and then Bob Ross ahead of him just absolutely had a horrible restart. Seems like the car just didn't want to go right there, as Chet's having a little bit of struggling time on the corner and actually went down to the apron. But our lead pack back to 6 cars, as another pack once again formed from a restart. There was some contact back in the field when they were going 5 wide to try to avoid Ross right there. And I'm not sure who made contact with who there, but everyone's car is still pointing in the right direction. See some cars trying to fan out, trying to form that second line in this front pack, but the front pack is so small. Anyone going out there is left alone is immediately shuffled to the back. So when you're in a small pack like this, you really want to have a friend to go out there with you. But in a short race like this, it's going to go always down to the wire.
Speeds also starting to climb. It was 202 miles an hour heading into turn number 3 for Adam Thompson. Getting dicey up here at the front. Alex Anderson looks like he wants to go somewhere. He's going to be forced to stay in line for now as Jerry DiPiero stays in front of him. He's going to hop up to the outside. Who's going to go with him? Claude looks like he's flying to the side. They did not survive on that outside line. Austin did not have enough of a push. They couldn't even get side by side with DiPiero there when they stepped out.
Well, it wasn't even really much of a commitment. They started going like middle of the back straight. When you want to go to the outside, you're going to have that massive run on the car front, and then you're just going to need complete commitment up there. And because if you go, others will follow. They want that super speedway win, and that's how you do it. You got to work with others. You got to make your way up the field. If you just go by yourself, it's not going to work out. Sure, you're going to have the momentum, but everyone else behind you, if you don't go immediately, they're not going to go immediately. And you can see that immediately off the oval goes to 67, but in the small pack, it's not going to pay off because nobody else is going out there with them. And he's going to be shuffled all the way back to the end of the 6-car pack in this small grid. If you go out, it's going to be well, it's going to be a long race back, and you're going to really have to use your nose as kind of a battering ram at times and try to push your way to the bottom of the track and see if another driver leaves that door open. And later on, this race is going to get extremely crazy, but right now it's just very processional. Everyone going to be staying in this one pack, in this one line. If you try to go out there, you're probably going to get shuffled to the back unless somebody else in front of you is thinking the exact same thing. And DiPiero is probably the one that is going to be looking for that secondary line very soon, because Adam Thompson, he's getting the push of a lifetime from Truett.
Racing through turn 4 now, back to the front straightaway. Even though they did try and step out, the worst driver of that was Alex Anderson, who has since dropped to the tail end of this line. Everybody else did not lose touch with this lead group. They all stayed together back to turn number 1. A second group has developed with Jaden Darling, Bobby Ross, Kevin Irwin, Schwenkler, and more at the tail end of the top 10. They're about 6 seconds off this lead group. More drivers look like they maybe wanted to try and go to the outside. Still not enough of a run up there to make anything happen. As the drivers continue to fight here at the front of the field, we will really quickly give a special thanks to a few of the sponsors that helped to put on Cross Series League Racing, starting with Acer Engines. For over 30 years, Acer Engine Supply has been rebuilding and restoring engines of all shapes and sizes in the Colorado Springs area. Today, their attention to detail and commitment to customers remains unchanged. From restoring an old classic to getting your daily driver running again, Acer Engine Supply will get you back on the road. Visit them at acerengines.com. We also would like to thank Temple Pies Tanning. They provide full-spectrum UV treatments with custom organic sugar-based DHA airbrush solutions. Located in Corte Madera, California, they are the only salon in the U.S. to offer these services. Red light therapy and blue light therapy beds are also available with a doctor's recommendation. Check them out on Facebook at facebook.com/TamTanCo. As we saw Jimmy Howitt go into the pits there. Looks like a bit of damage to that number 37 machine, Austin. He's definitely going to be out of this race as he goes one lap down.
Yeah, went to the pits, and Jimmy is going to be one lap down, and probably that's going to be the end of his race. And Scott Benavides is also in the pits as well. Are we seeing some... I want to say fuel strategy. Nope. That is the reason why we're seeing a damage repair.
Scott Benavides moves over, and here comes one driver. This is not going to spell well for Tyler Coates. It looked like he was apprehensive of that one as well. Everybody else stays out on the racetrack. That is not what the number 81, or sorry, the 407 of Tyler Coates needed. He pits alone in the pit lane. Drivers pitting now to get good to the end on fuel, but if they pit alone, that is spelling disaster. They're going to come out with nobody near them on the racetrack.
Yeah, it looks like DePero and Clog were also going in there, but nobody else was really committing into it until they got to the absolute minimum point. And so it's going to be, they're going to go when Adam Thompson's going to go, and let's see if any of them take it right now. No, sirree. They're all going to be staying out, and that is going to be a lot of trouble right there. DePero actually falling a little bit behind from James Truett, who has been doing an amazing push job to Adam Thompson as they're coming across turns 1 and 2, and right at the pit exit.
Back down the back straightaway, 15 to go. Thompson, Truett, DiPiero, Clog, Anderson, Darling, Ross, Irwin, Schwenkler, and Campbell yet to pit. Everybody 11th on back has pitted once this race. Molyneux pitted for damage, so did James Keir. They both still need to pit for fuel. Coates, now Chet Duranic is in. And here comes DiPiero. That's going to leave the duo out in front, along with Clog and Anderson, two duos at the front of the field. Also not going to work well for DiPiero here as he pits alone.
Yeah, you really want to work with the car in front of you. And, well, Thompson, he's had James Truett right behind him, and James has been bump drafted. He's been in the trap the entire time. He's going to be just going whenever Thompson's going to go. And, oh, Kevin Irwin missed the pit entry and went for a little bit of landscaping.
mowing the grass here at Talladega as we look at the replay. Got down relatively early, but locks up the brakes, and that sent him right back onto the racing surface. Luckily, no caution called, but that is undoubtedly going to be an unsafe pit entry for that driver as here comes everybody in from the top four. Thompson, Truett, Clog, Anderson are all into the pit lane. Darling, Ross, and Schwenkler, the only three left down on the racetrack now. Molyneux still needs to pit, as well as Kier for fuel. Here comes Ross and Darling. Here comes Molyneux and Schwenkler. That leaves Kier on the racetrack as the only driver yet to pit under this cycle.
Yeah, Josh Clog on that entry closed the gap to Thompson and Anderson, and it was a beautiful, beautiful move. And now we got the race off pit road. Green flag exits, and everybody else continues off. James Kier leads this race, still needing fuel, and it's Thompson and Anderson now leading, net leading everybody else as they exit. Jaden Darling coming out of the pits very slowly, and there's Bobby Ross trying to make a move out of pit exit. You could definitely do that. It's not yellow flag rules. It's a pure-on race. Just don't cross over that yellow line to make sure you enter the racetrack after the cone and don't kill the cone right there. But it's Anderson and Thompson, 1-2. But what happened to the 5 of James Truett? Oh, he got a penalty. Speeding into the pit lane. He had such a good run that he sped. James Truett was in second, and now it's Anderson.
Josh Clog with a penalty as well in the pit lane. That is going to take that duo out of this running, so that leaves Thompson and Alex Anderson at the front of the field in a tandem draft right now. Everybody came into the pit lane so sporadically that leads to basically just pockets of cars around the racetrack. And look at the swap. Thompson goes up the racetrack. Alex Anderson back to the bottom. Thompson would rather push. This could be some interesting strategy here, Austin.
This is definitely going to be a strategy.
Instead of at the front.
Thompson is pulling out the strategy card. When you're 2 cars, you know, the thing of shaking and bacon, you need 2 to tango. He's putting himself in the slingshot position. He wants to give himself that run at the end of this race, and so he purposely lets Anderson by to already set up for the ending of this race. That's smart racing by Adam Thompson, and what Anderson needs to do is not let that happen, and this will be probably the slowest fight you will see. And if they continue at it, this pack behind them might catch them. But what Anderson and Thompson need to do is keep their head down and not focus immediately on who is behind who. And if one wants to push the other, you're going to get out the boxing gloves. And I hope you guys like boxing, because we're going to go all 12 rounds here. And each round is a lap. And, well, hey, someone is going to get the knockout at the end.
Jaden Darling leads this group with Bobby Ross and Ashley Molyneux, group of 3. James Kier currently leads, but not only is he being chased down by Anderson and Thompson, he is also still needs to pit for fuel. Don't believe he is good to the end because he pitted 17 laps ago under that first caution. So he's not good to the end on fuel. Has a little bit of help now from James Truett in the 5, but not going to be enough, as now the gap's going to go to about 4.2 seconds with Anderson and Thompson. Not falling as quickly, but he still needs to pit. Looks like he's going with the strategy of stretch it out as far as I can and hope for a yellow flag.
He's got Truett to help him out right here. He is the leader. All he needs to do, stay behind Truett, lift and coast and lift and coast and try to marathon it right there. And Truett, we know he's quick, but can these two have the pace to hold out 4 seconds to Anderson and Thompson? And remember, Kier did go into the pits on lap 6. He did take a little bit of fuel, but will it be enough? That is the question that we're about to have answered. We got this 4-car group led by Tyler, who's trying to chase down Gary DePero, and the rest of the group. And DePero is actually being pushed along by 2 lapped cars, the 3 of Tyler Campbell, and that's behind them. And, oh, there goes Kier.
Kier to the pit lane. That'll put Thompson back into the race lead. Or sorry, Anderson back into the race lead. Adam Thompson in second. Now the leader of this line, as we have 8 laps to go, is Josh Clogg. Clogg currently runs P11, basically saving himself from going a lap down by being at the front of this group. And Austin, they really don't have a reason to go around him.
No, they don't. They do not want to be passing Josh Clogg. He's going to be giving them the slipstream opportunity to do that slingshot. And he's giving Anderson a great opportunity right here to defend from Thompson. And if this goes to the very last lap with these cars in this line, it's going to be Thompson swinging out early, and then Anderson also swinging out to pass Clogg, forcing Thompson up to go 3 wide. It's going to be a drag race. Thompson's going to be up against the wall, and it's going to be they're going to be 2 wide heading into the oval, and Thompson will not be able to pass Anderson up there if it's just a one-on-one car draft situation. And with these cars, I don't think they'll be able to pass, but hey, let's add another car up there. I see the 5 of Truett. So we're going to have a 4-car pack here in the lead. Thompson, he's got him down low. If I was Thompson, I'd be letting that 5-car by, so I would have the biggest run-up, but I will not do that if Anderson's going to be staying behind Clogg. This could cause a little bit of confusion, but Thompson could have a little bit of a play buddy right behind him.
We also have to talk about the fact that now Thompson has a driver behind him. And we don't fully know if James Truett would be willing to help Adam Thompson if the 5 even stays hooked up with this line. He's been bump drafting him, remember? Yeah, so we could see Adam Thompson have help now to get around the 67 in the pass for the lead.
Yeah, they were very good bump drafting with each other. We're going to have to watch Truett, see if he locks bumpers again with Thompson, gives him a little sign, and they might try to get this a little bit earlier with 7 laps to go, but the number goes down. The 5 laps to go. Truett and Thompson could lock bumpers, but Thompson blocking bumpers with Anderson just a little bit, and now Anderson's going to have to lock bumpers with Clogg. And I think Anderson might try to go for the lead now that the strategy has changed. We got a 4-car pack, and Anderson and Thompson has his buddy with him. Let's see if they go for it right now. No, they are not. Still too small to really tell, but you're at the back of the pack. You're really going to have to go for it. And Anderson is really pushing Clogg right now. He sees that Thompson has help behind. That's not what he wants to see. If this was a 2-car fight, it would be the fight to the end. Who's going to be defending the hardest? Who's going to be allowing who to go where? With this 4-car fight, you got 2 extra drivers that are going to lap down on both of you. And they're just going to be driving their own line. And you don't know if anyone has any allegiances to who. So right now, it's going to be a, well, it's up to the air. Over, under on anything, I have no idea. 50-50.
Well, we have 4 laps to go, about 3.5 now as they go halfway down the Alabama Gang super stretch. Once again, would like to remind you before we get to this finish of a couple of the sponsors that help to put on Cross Series League racing, starting with Dangerous. They are a top 3D visualization firm specializing in high-quality 3D product, CAD, package rendering services, and photorealistic product visuals. They specialize in automotive subjects and have extensive industrial and consumer product design experience. Let them help you visualize, promote, and communicate your designs. Visit them at dangerous.net. Also, like to thank Nexus Fabrication. They specialize in metal fabrication and manufacturing for commercial, residential, and custom projects, as well as signage, furniture, and metal repair work. Visit them at nexusfab.com. Also, like to thank Shears Salon, located in Grand Forks, North Dakota. Shears Salon. Trust your peers and come to Shears. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Samantha at Shears Salon. 2 to go at the line. Josh Clogg at the front of this line, but Alex Anderson's at the front of the field. Can Adam Thompson get around him in these last 2 laps and steal the win away?
It's going to be a big question right here. And it looks like Thompson's not going to have that help, or he's going to have the help this lap. 2 laps to go, but we got a crash in turns 3 and 4. Bobby Ross and Chet Durant.
Caution!
And the caution is out. If you like drama, you got it here. Green, white checkered, or cross series racing overtime. And oh, that is just, oh, OP is all right there. Just got a little bit loose, and oh, had that door open, and bam.
Well, this changes everything.
All right, where's my playbook? Here it is. Okay, yeah, I threw my playbook out the window. There's nothing you can really control to this. And also during that, the 81 Jaden Darling went for a big ride through the grass, so that's going to be a unsafe pit entry and a very angry launch crew. Luckily, the splitter stayed on, so unlike in real life, we have that. But, oh, this is going to be fun.
So we do have overtime attempts. We have 2 overtime attempts that we have available to us. We are going to take one of them here. The big question is, who is going to come down pit road if anybody ends up coming into the pit lane? Alex Anderson leads. Adam Thompson, Jerry DiPiero, Tyler Coates, Ashley Mullen on the top 5. Will any of them try and go into the pit lane? Will fresh tires help them? I feel like track position's the best thing here.
Well, this race was scheduled for 32 laps. Tyler went in on lap 16. He went in before everyone else did. So if he has enough fuel to make it to the end, he is good. But I believe he went in exactly halfway, and somebody is taking it to the pits. Is that that is Tyler Campbell. And so none of the leaders are giving up their track position. I don't blame them because it's the track position. Bobby Ross did go into the pits. He's on the lead lap and everything, so it's going to be very interesting to see how everyone goes here. If they have another overtime, we might be seeing some cars dive into the pit lane, but right now, under this caution, they're going to be saving fuel. Drivers who I have no worries about would be Anderson, Thompson, Molyneux, and James Kerr and Josh Clogg. James is probably the one that doesn't care that there's a caution right now, because that really saved him. He's back in 6th place, and this restart, it's going to be Anderson on the bottom line, Thompson on the outside line, and then behind him, DiPiero on that inside line. And well, if you remember, Gary was starting in P2 with Adam Thompson. They put in exactly the same time as we see a replay of that very, very rough crash that brought out this late caution to get us into overtime. Woo! I feel like we're in Vegas because this is some odds.
Well, when we go back to racing, I believe this is going to be the first time this season we have any sort of overtime finish. Don't believe we had any in the dirt oval. Definitely didn't have any in the road course. So uncharted territory tonight. And we're only in the second caution. First caution came out. Believe we were at about 31 to go on lap number maybe 5. So that'll be about 27 laps to go, more like it. So we saw one caution earlier. Now this caution just about the perfect time, right after they took the flag for 2 to go. So how an overtime restart works, if anybody is unfamiliar, we'll take the green flag. It will complete 1 lap, take the white flag. Once that white flag comes out, leader crosses the start-finish line. Race is official. No cautions can be called. If a caution is called on the green flag lap, then we'll rack them up for 1 more restart. We have 2 attempts to get to the white flag. Once we do, race is official. They will race back to the checkered. So this is going to be interesting now, Austin, because Anderson and Thompson are going to be side by side. DiPiero, Coates, and Molyneux are going to be the top 5. So this opens the door for DiPiero to give Anderson a huge shove here on this start. Opens the door for Tyler Coates to give Thompson a huge shove on this start and possibly move themselves into a prime spot to get the win.
It opens up DiPiero to really get by Thompson and force Thompson into a bad line, because Thompson is in the spot that you don't want to be. Because remember what happened to DiPiero on the race start? He started on the outside line. He dropped down to 5th on the race start. So that is definitely, you do not want to be out there in these cars unless you just nail that start. You could try to jump Anderson, but Anderson will be controlling the field. This is going to be a chess game of almighty proportions right here. If I was Thompson, I would go immediately when Anderson goes, and I would immediately try to put my car down low as fast as I can to try to cut off DiPiero. Hope he doesn't get a good start, and ride it to that bottom, wait for that white flag, and then everybody is going to go. Oh, we got a car stopped on the back straight. I think somebody's ran out of fuel.
Is that going to be an issue now? Did Coates run out of fuel? Who else runs the risk of running out of fuel?
He's out of fuel. Like I said, he went into the pits on lap 16 immediately halfway through this race. He needed fuel. He didn't think about it. I guess the adrenaline and everything, and then boom, halfway through the race. Well, every 16 laps, you need to fuel up these cars. It feels like it. And these drivers up in the front, if they have another caution, they're definitely all going to have to dive in for fuel, except for James Kerr. Anderson, Thompson, your front row. Lights are out on the pace car. Pace car's in. We're in overtime, and it's going to get crazy. And I already see some chess moves being played here. Look at the 88 of James.
Who else is going to need to be careful on fuel? Pretty much everybody in this lead pack will reach that 16 lap mark during this overtime restart. Back to green. Alex Anderson on the inside. Adam Thompson on the outside. Jerry DiPiero inside, trying to shove. Door slam for the front two. Thompson gets moved up the racetrack, still trying to side draft. Here comes the 88 of James Keir into the picture, looking to push on Adam Thompson. 2 lines fighting down the back straightaway.
First time we're seeing 2 lines today. Keir had a very wide start. Gary DiPiero moves up to the top line, gets a little bit of a block from Anderson, trying to get himself up there, but look who's moved to the top line now. Back in the field is Josh Clark. They're going up there, and everyone's just straddling for positions, trying to find their way, shuffling in there. They're diving back to one line. This is a massive crash on the tri-oval. Caution is back out, and well, first overtime was a massive failure. And we're going to go for the final overtime now. And now we're going to be seeing who has to pit now for fuel. And that was a big, big crash right there. They were getting very aggressive in the back. 2, 3 wide, and everybody wanted to be in that draft. Nobody wanted to be on their own. And they were fighting for a spot on the track that couldn't support 2 cars or even 3 cars. Look at this fight right here between James Kerr and the 33 turned up the track awkwardly. It looks like he might have had a bump with somebody else. Ross staying on the bottom line, Oh, Thompson gave him a big netcode hit. Man, I've seen more. I think that netcode hit was wider than a semi-truck on the highway.
So this brings out.
Oh my God, we're crashing under caution. Not sure why, but car just turned straight up into another car. And I feel like, oh, here goes James Kerr. What is James doing? James, calm down, James.
Well, as I was saying, 3rd caution of the race, about to go into double overtime, so to speak.
Everyone's
2nd overtime attempt.
Everyone's going to go into the pits. And James, James doesn't need a pit. He had all the fuel, but now that he has damage, he has to pit. And now it's Molino Clog and Kerr heading into the pits. Thompson, DePiero, and Anderson are gambling it and not going into the pits. Robert Schwenkler in 4th place doesn't need a pit. They went to the pits on lap 31. And so this is going to bring out a big question. Does Anderson, DiPiero, and Thompson have enough fuel to make it to the end? Because they got Schwenkler up there. He's on a full tank of gas. He's got an entire full tank of go, get it, get gone, go. And everybody else behind him has a tank of go as well. Will we be seeing them being pushed across the line at the end is the big question, because, you know, they went halfway on the 16, went in a lap 16. 16 laps later, they ran out of fuel, but they were running on their own full throttle. The car that's been full throttle for most of this race after their pit stop was Anderson and Thompson.
Under the caution for the 3rd time tonight, ready for 2nd overtime. Anderson, DiPiero, Thompson, unsure of how their fuel levels are, and we'll throw James Truitt into that list as well. Robert Schwenkler, we know, can survive on the tank of fuel he is on right now in this restart. Would like to give a real quick shout out to James Truitt's grandfather, Ron. Had a mild heart attack last weekend, doing okay now, which is great to hear. And Truitt running up here in the top 5, but just unknown of what is going to happen with this fuel. We saw a handful of drivers pit this time, but with 4 out of the top 5 not pitting, Austin, I think we might see some gambles of the fuel strategy. I think we are going to see drivers start to run out of fuel like we saw fall 2008 NASCAR Cup Series race at this very racetrack.
Yeah, we see some crazy finishes around here. And well, back to anyone's game. Looking at our drivers in the lead, in that lead pack, James Kerr is still in the pits. I think that incident under caution might have kept him under the pits, as there might have been a penalty assessed. Lights are out on the pace car. Let's take a look at all of our drivers. Anderson in that prime spot on that bottom line. If there's any spot to be, you want to be right there leading them off, especially if there's a caution from any chaos behind them. On the top line, Gary DiPiero up there. Under him, Thompson going to try to jump DiPiero. And then it's the 235 of Robert Schwenkler. He's on that top line. He's got enough fuel. He knows that you make it to the end. And then Truitt. He has a lot of nose damage. He's going to be extremely draggy, as well as Bobby Ross. These two are going to be like kind of a minefield for everyone who went to the pits and trying to make their way up through the field. So our 4 is going to be Schwenkler, Thompson, DiPiero, and Anderson, as they're going to be 2 slower cars bunching up the field into the back end. So those are the 4 protagonists of this race right here. And we're going to see on who's going to be ending up on top, as we can already see some chess being played. We saw Kerr doing this on the last restart. Pull up a big gap to the car ahead. Try to get that slingshot timed in off the restart. And see if they can sling by on the end of turn 2 and onto that back straight. As you can see, DiPiero giving a big room to Alex Anderson. I think DiPiero is going to try to jump the start and try to guess where Anderson's trying to go.
Let's see what happens here. This will be the final restart of the night. Final attempt at overtime. Will they make it to the white flag is the big question. Alex Anderson leads the field to green. Jerry DiPiero to the outside. Adam Thompson, Robert Schwenkler, James True at the top 5. Back to green. 2 laps to go from Virtual Dega. Great push for Adam Thompson onto Alex Anderson. DiPiero gonna fall to road 2 on the outside line. Not a ton of help. He's squirrely on the outside.
On the bottom.
Gonna barely clear him, but here comes DiPiero right back on the outside.
DiPiero's got a good push from behind. Truett's not giving any help to Thompson. DiPiero's got a lead. He's got some helpers behind him. Alex Anderson is being caught. Thompson straight into the back of Anderson. We got a lot of shuffling from everyone. Truett's get locked up with Thompson as well. It's a side-by-side heading into turns 3 and 4. They're widening out right now, trying to stay with the bumper of the lane that they want to be. Truett's a little bit loose on that bottom line. That front nose damage is definitely not happening. This is where we had that caution last time out. It looks like everyone's keeping it clear. Heading through the tri-oval, and it's a drag race to the line. White flag is in the air. Let's go racing to the end, boys. And we're going to go almost 3 wide. Schwenkler trying to push his way down to the bottom line. He's able to get down there onto that bottom line right now. And it's DiPiero stuck up there on his own. Josh Clark making his way down to the bottom line as well. And it's now going to be a 2-car race. Thompson, Anderson up at front. Who is going to be the first to dive out of that line? The Camaro ZR1 front grill making himself known here on Apex Racing TV. Schwenkler onto the back of these 3. We got a massive crash Truett involved as Anderson, Thompson, and Schwenkler, your top 3, your only 3, racing for the win right here. Who's it going to be taking it for the W here at Talladega? Thompson trying to go for the inside. Anderson staying on the bottom line. Anderson still staying on that bottom line. He's glued to that yellow line right there. Who's going to be diving out? No one's going to be diving out. It's going to be Anderson taking the victory here, with Thompson right behind and Robert Schwenkler in third, as we see the carnage of what happened behind them all. And I think it's time for all of us, mainly me, to take a massive breath of air.
There's the issue that happened on the back straightaway heading into turn number 3, and Truett, Clog bouncing off of each other. Here's the replay of that finish off turn 4. On board of Alex Anderson, nothing Thompson could have done. He went to go step out, not a ton of help. He wouldn't have made it around no matter what. They all make it to the end on fuel, and Alex Anderson, the best of the rest when it comes to Talladega. But Adam Thompson, a win at iRacing Superspeedway and a 2nd place finish here at Talladega. What a run that number 244 is on. He comes home 2nd. It's Alex Anderson with the win. Robert Schwenkler, P3. Jaden Darling, Bobby Ross, your top 5. Ashley Molyneux, Jerry DiPiero, James Truett, Josh Clog, and Tyler Coates rounds out that top 10. Kevin Irwin, Chet Duranic, Scott Benavidez, James Keir, and Tyler Campbell. Top 15 with Jimmy Howitt, Mike Sorum, and Scott Ronkin rounding out the 18 drivers who took the green flag here from Virtual Talladega. And as we enter in the post-race show, we'll hear from your top 3 finishers from Slow Motion Motorsports, XSLR, and Dangerous Motorsports. What a run to the finish here from Virtual Talladega. We thank you all for joining us here on Apex Racing TV, and make sure that you do stick around for the post-race, hear from your top 3 finishers. We're all ready to grab an interview with the race winner here from Virtual Talladega. Alex Anderson walks away with the race win. He joins us in the commentary booth now. Alex, what a run to the finish there. You were up front for the entire race, commanding the field with Adam Thompson. How does it feel to finally put this win in the bag? Your first of the XSLR season.
I can't even explain it. It's amazing. It's my first league win ever. It's just, it's such an honor just to be here racing with these guys, and just to finally come home with my first win pretty much ever. Not only in XSLR, but just in leagues as a whole. It feels amazing.
And it looked like it was a bit close on fuel with that double overtime. Were you close to possibly running out there at the end?
Oh, absolutely I was. I was saving throughout the entire yellow. I actually ran out of fuel while I was doing my burnouts. Like, as soon as that last yellow came out, I got so scared. I was like, this is it. This is where it ends. But nope, we saved enough fuel under the yellow to make it to the end, and yeah, we won the race because of it.
And moving forward in the asphalt oval portion, we go from plate racing to still some high-speed racing for these next-gen cars at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Where's the confidence to go 2 in a row?
I don't know, man. I need to get a good setup going, and then I need to definitely join some of the practice sessions, so that way I can figure out how they run in the draft, how my setup is compared to others, and all that sort of stuff, just so I can maybe get that 2 in a row. I don't know. Hopefully it'll happen, but we'll never know till next week.
Well, thank you for joining us post-race here on Apex Racing TV, Alex, and congratulations on that race win.
Yep, thank you for having me.
Great to hear from Alex Anderson in the 67. We'll transition over to P2 finisher Adam Thompson, standing by now with our Austin Knight.
Adam, what a race. What a final final overtime. You were in the slingshot opportunity in that final 3 cars. Were you planning on going onto that outside line and trying to sling past, or was the threat of the car behind not going with you too much of a deterrent?
No, Austin, so I know the car behind would have gone with me. Rob and I are pretty close. We're pretty close friends, but I was just trying to push Alex to a win. He deserved it. He raced clean the whole race, did everything he had to do, and yeah, he did a great job. So congratulations to him. And I also I want to apologize to Bobby Ross. There may be a bit of a after race penalty coming my way, because I don't think I was clear, and that was on me.
Well, glad you're being very honest about a incident, and letting Alex take his first win. That's very nice of you.
Yeah, for sure. He deserved it.
In championship wise though, you put more of a gap to you and second place, who wasn't here today, and well, that's great news in that category as we go on to next round. How you feel about next week?
Yeah, no, that's a really good thing. I knew with Trevor being out, no matter what happened, I was going to be making points. So yeah, good on me, or good on him for mixing the race, I guess. So I'm super excited about that. Next weekend's Indianapolis, and that is my home state. I would like to call it my home track, being from Terre Haute. I've been up there a lot. Haven't run it really that much in these next-gen cars, but this is going to be the first departure, I would say. Even though it's a big track, it's going to be different than the super speedways we've been running. I think it's going to take a little more skill, a little more tire conservation, so it's going to be super interesting.
Yeah, the Brickyard is always going to be a challenge, and in these next-gen cars, it's going to be a challenge, and no one's really been attuned yet. I'm going to be very interested to see on how everyone's going to be tackling that track. Adam, it was a great race from you. P2, more points on the board. Before we let you go, anyone you want to thank?
Yep, get ready for this. All right, my grandparents, I know are watching this race. Dave and Donna, my uncle Drew, my cousin Leah, I'm sure is watching it as well. Huge shout out to my girlfriend for being able to put up with me every Sunday for doing this, doing what I enjoy. Shout out to you guys for sure for putting on this broadcast every weekend. You guys do a great job. And then all of our league sponsors, Dangerous, Acer Engines, Jim Perry, Tamal Pius, Shear Salon, Bobby Ross, and I know I'm missing a couple. Majors Garage, Butt Kicker. We've got so many. So thank you guys for everything you do.
All right, pretty sure everyone is happy with your performance here today. You made them all proud, Adam. We'll see you next time at the Brickyard.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
And over to Josh. I believe we have we have Robert Schwenkler joining you.
Yeah, and a great P3 finish for Schwenkler here, and it was a bit tough there, Robert. You really came into it at the end of that race there, and with that second overtime, looked like it gifted you a very comfortable top 3 finish.
Yeah, man, it's completely unexpected there in the middle of the race. I was in no man's land. I had no draft, just churning laps, and all kind of worked out for me. I think when I jumped in the pits there right after that first caution at the end came out and topped off fuel, I think that helped me out for sure.
And you have been so close to this podium finish. I believe you've had 3 fourth place finishes this season. So finally getting up into these podium spots, what's that going to do for the confidence heading into the final half of the season? About 6 rounds left.
Yeah, it feels like it's been on the cusp. Like I'm so close yet so far. So happy to get on the box this week. And honestly, I'm just taking them as they come. You know, I'm just trying to stay steady. My outlook the entire season has been to be consistent. You know, top 5s if I can every race. So so far so good.
And moving on to Indianapolis, is that going to be a track that you think you can go 2 for 2 in the podium finishes, or is it going to be an uphill battle for you in the 235 team?
I have high hopes, and I'll leave it at that.
Well, we will definitely look for you in 1 week's time at Virtual Indianapolis. Robert, congratulations on the 3rd place finish here from Virtual Talladega.
Thanks so much, guys. Appreciate it.
Great to hear from Robert Schwenkler. And as our post-race show wraps up Austin, we're going to Indianapolis. Nothing quite like the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and I have a feeling these next-gen cars are really going to race sort of like Indy cars in a way. Now, obviously a lot of differences in between the two, but 5 gears as opposed to the normal 4 in the next-gen cars, and we're going to be racing a lot differently than what the Gen 6 cars raced at that Indy track.
Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting way. The new suspension setup, the diffusers on these cars going to be very interesting to see how they handle, to see how they perform. It's going to be whoever takes it, whoever nails that setup, whoever knows the Brickyard better than anyone else is going to be the one taking it home. And I can't wait for next week.
Well, we hope that you'll join us in 1 week's time from Virtual Indianapolis. Same place, same time here on Apex Racing TV. Remember to hit subscribe here on YouTube and click that notification bell to get notified every time that we go live for another broadcast on Apex Racing TV. For everyone at Cross Series League Racing, race control provided by 24/7 Race Control. For our producer in the booth, Marco Barbanera, and for my colleague in the booth, Austin Knight, my name is Joshua Lee. Thank you so much for joining us from Virtual Talladega, and we'll see you in 1 week's time when we go racing from Virtual Indianapolis.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.